Due to the graphic nature of its content, listener discretion is advised.
From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, we fight our country's battles in the air, on land and sea. First to fight for
On this episode of Cigars and Sea Stories, I'm Mike Penny, sit down with Sebastian Juslin in the Cigars and Sea Stories studio. We're kicking it with Chris Walters. Josh Mattfeld's going to join us a little bit later on in the conversation. Chris, Josh, Sebastian, and Mike all served together in 3rd Battalion 7th Marines Weapons Company. And that was in between 2005 2008.
Time.
For the folks at home, 3rd Battalion 7th Marines as a whole deployed to Ramadi, Iraq twice in between 2005 and 2008. The windows while we were serving there together. We deployed from September 05, right, until March of 2006. And then again the following year in March of 2007 to, October? November?
We actually missed Thanksgiving
Day,
by
yeah.
1 day.
That's right.
Because of the planes.
That
Walters, you want to
sucked.
go ahead and tell us that
We had a-
story?
We had a plane breakdown in freaking Budapest, I think, on the way to come get us, so we had to stay an extra day or two. And
Oh, we
wonderful
can
place
set
in
it up
Kuwait.
a little better than that. So, we get on the buses
Yeah,
and drive to the airport.
oh, I forgot about this.
Oh, dear God.
So, for all you listening out there, we are told we're going to make it back by Thanksgiving. We're all ecstatic about it. And we get on buses, ready to go. The mood is light. Everyone's happy. And then we pull over. In the middle of the night, we pull over.
Oh, God.
And then someone comes on. I think it was Gunny Mraz.
Well, I'm not sure who
wait.
it was. I was half asleep.
Yeah.
I just remember pulling over and my gut sunk. And it was just like, no. We're stopped on the side of the road in Kuwait. That was the worst feeling in the world.
And then, yep.
Don't forget, we spent no less than 12 hours going through customs to make sure that our bags were good and we
Oh.
weren't bringing back treasure with us.
Yeah, that was the
And then
worst
we got
part.
on the buses, so this was an all-day thing, and we were excited just to get on that plane.
That's right.
Oh, dude. They embarked all of the gear.
Yep.
That's it.
At
Yeah.
least it was easy the next time around, gotta say.
Right.
I mean,
Well, easy to get back on the bus, but for the next 3 days when we lived back in Camp Victory, we got to live out of our day packs, which we had packed simply for the plane ride and not for 3 days on Camp Victory.
Right.
right.
So everybody was rebuying towels and shampoo and shower shoes and everything like that just to live.
And it's like, people don't realize, like, okay, you're on your way home from deployment. It's not tough living in a GP tent for 3 days with nothing. That's easy. It's the fact that you are on the freaking bus on the way to the Freedom Bird, and they turn that shit around, and you're just like, no! Oh, dude.
And missing Thanksgiving, no less,
Yeah.
because of it.
And then watching the Lions lose.
I had like at least 20 of my cousins and extended relatives waiting for me at 29 Palms. And because the Thanksgiving weekend was over, they all had to go back to their normal jobs. And so there was nobody waiting when we got back.
Oh,
They had all
man.
making a special trip out there, and that got kiboshed. So
And the other thing, too, okay, remember how we came home in 2005? Middle of the day, it was like 1:30 in the afternoon. It's gorgeous out, right? They were playing The Boys Are Back in Town, right? As you're rolling through the gate, it was like, yes, this is awesome, right? We get home on the second tour. It's the middle of the night. There's a limo brief in front of 7th Marines Armory, right? And the guy kicking it, he was a major that I'd never seen before. And the guy kicking it's just like, don't drink and drive. If you drive, don't drink. Wrap it before you tap it. Sorry, go and leave. And you're like, do you remember that?
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
it was way different.
Yeah, it was entirely different.
I don't know. I felt like it kind of went that way after that deployment anyway. Penny, you and I both spent a little bit more time. Justin, did you get out after that, after 3-7?
Yeah, I did short stints in the reserves for the next 4 years.
We
But
got out at the right time. Me and Penny both spent some time in 5th Marines, and I don't know about your unit, Penny, but 2-5 was a far cry from 3-7, and it wasn't great.
Yeah.
It's very different.
See, my experience with 5th Marines, like, I enjoyed 5th Marines, to be honest with you. I enjoyed being on Christianitos. I thought that it was a much easier, like, commute and blah, 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 workload-wise. But the other thing, too, is I cannot really speak about my battalion because I was in the police advisor team. So we were always like the bastard children. We were always just away training and doing other stuff. Even when we deployed, I was in Kajaki and the battalion was down in Sangan. So it was like, you know, I never really actually spent very much time with our unit. Yeah. It was very interesting, to be honest with you. The thing for me was going and doing another billet. You know, like I went to Quantico, was a CMT there. You know the story. I did coach's course and trainer's course and foreign weapons and all of those other things, and it prepared me a lot for what I was going to do when I came back to the fleet. You know what I mean? So like when I came back to the fleet as like a sergeant who like was an instructor and stuff like that, I had a hell of a lot more confidence than the corporal I was in my second tour. You know, so, or on our second tour. So it was just a different experience all the way around. But
Yep.
But yeah, you know, going back specifically to our first tour, just kind of going along the lineage of this thing, you know, I don't know, when did you get to the fleet, Chris? Because you were there before me.
January 5th, 2005.
Yeah, okay. 1 month to the day before.
Yep.
Yep. How about you?
April 4th.
Justin's looking at the ceiling trying to like do math in his
I
head.
know, right?
He's like, carry the 1. Pretty soon he's gonna kick a
I think
shoe
it was
off.
April 4th. I'm not sure.
Of 2005?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah. So all right around the same time. Did you go to the March Air Force Base field
Yes.
out? Okay. That was pretty cool.
And Victorville.
Mm-hmm. I helped launch a Dragoneye for the first time. Did I ever tell you this? I was alone. I do not need to tell anybody this story. Okay? I will tell you this though. I wound up, you know how you launch Dragoneyes, right? You like fling them off. So I'm holding the thing, but I'm not holding it high enough. And here I am, like in this just open space. It's like me and a gunny and a high back, and I gotta launch this thing. And he's facing the opposite direction. I go to throw the damn thing, and the tail fin assembly on the left-hand side where the rudders are just bashes me in the back of the fucking head. It hit me so hard, I fell forward onto my hands. It was like, all right, real glad nobody saw that. It was like, and threw that thing up into space. Anyhow, yeah, that was my Victorville experience. That's what I remember.
I can't remember which one of them was the truly awful, like, former base housing.
Oh, that was Marge. No, they both were.
Yes, March Air Base. Yep.
Well, on one of them, the day before we left for it, I was riding my motorcycle out to Cook's Corner, and a bee hit me right below my left eye, and it had magically stung me in the time that it took to just smack into my face on my motorcycle. And the next day, my entire eye was completely bloated and, like, disgusting, and I had to go still.
To the field up.
Yeah. And docs gave me some antihistamines, but it was still like disgusting thing, and they kept having me train, and it was the most uncomfortable thing because of the asbestos rolling around everywhere.
Oh, Jesus. Walters, did you go through that shotgun breachers course in Victorville?
I did.
I did that with my eye.
That was cool.
Yeah, I wish I would have been able to do more of that later on.
Yeah, heck yes.
And then we never really used the shotguns to breach anyway. We used Humvees and
right
and kicks, and battering rams. Halligan tools.
Oh God. Now, okay, so to clarify, what was your billet when we were overseas with Cat Red?
So I was an upgunner. Specifically, I was on the Mark 19 for 90% of the time.
Right. And what truck were you in?
Truck 3.
Truck 3. Right on. So were you
Alpha 3, that was the call sign.
right, there you go. So you're an 0331 by trade, correct? You're a machine gunner by trade.
Yes.
What's the funniest thing you remember from the second deployment? And do you recall that I was the guy that got us in trouble for using the red lens flashlight to clear my guys at the clearing barrels that I had been using for the entire time? And then suddenly somebody got mad. And so he's like, great, I was looking for a reason to give you guys sandbags. And then suddenly we're all out back doing sandbags. Remember that? That was awesome.
Was that where we had to move, the entire platoon had to move all of the sandbags like 100 yards north of the hooch?
No.
And then move them back?
No, this is just VCs
no,
in
that
the
was
middle of the night.
I know what you're thinking of, though, Walters. No, what he's talking about was...
The big chain gang with the sandbags.
Yeah, that was the first tour. Remember, that was Cat Red.
Yeah, and that was with Staff Sergeant Yellow.
Yep. He's a master sergeant now, doing great things.
Yeah, that's right. I ran into him at 5th Marines as well.
Yep. Good stuff.
Dude, no, back to your question, the funniest thing I remember, and there's a lot of funny things. I'm sure if we talk long enough, we'd find funnier stories, but the one that sticks out in my mind is when Schaefer fell asleep on post at ECP-1, and Muniz, his VC at the time, decided it would be a good idea to have him fill sandbags on top of ECP-1. Do you guys remember what happened next? I don't know if you guys were on that shift or what, because we were different sections, but he started getting shot at by a sniper. So we hear like 3 rounds crack overhead, about 4 to 5 seconds apart, and Muniz goes sprinting up the stairs. He found Schaefer in the prone, like, holy shit, that thing almost hit me. And Muniz is like, are you okay? He's like, yeah. He goes, good. Keep throwing those sandbags, stay in the prone. And runs back downstairs.
Fucking dick.
So Schaefer had to fill the rest of the sandbags up there, getting watched by a sniper. That was one of those things like, man, I love the Marine Corps, but holy cow, sometimes there's just some really dumb shit that went on.
Well, yeah.
Overly dumb.
I was thinking about it the other day because specifically I was recalling our first tour. And it was weird because you and I were in different sections. So it was like, we very rarely went out together as a platoon. Unless
yeah, that's true. Yep.
Unless it was like a raid.
Yep. Because in one section we'd be doing outer cordon, and one section would be doing inner cordon and actually kicking in the door.
Right. And it was always, and you I'm sure can appreciate this. Juslin not so much because he was a fucking dismount. But I was the driver, right? I was the lead truck driver for Bravo section, Bravo 1, and so anyhow, I just remember sitting on the freaking cordon. And LT came back over to the Humvee, and he ripped open my door just wanting the battalion hook, which is no big deal, but he didn't tell me it was coming. Do you remember this at all?
No, I don't.
Okay, so...
Cause that was in the other section, but...
Well, right, but he made it a point during the debrief to make mention of this. So, if you recall, on our first tour, I had a completely slick flak, and then I had a leg panel, which I kept up on the dash, right? And then I had that K-bar. Right, and remember those big, huge honking aviators? It was ridiculous. Anyhow, the first tour was awesome. It was like Cowboys and Indians. So, anyhow, LT comes back to the truck, and I'm leaning over trying to grab the other hook, and I'm talking to Willie. Neither one of us, it was that break where we're talking, and I was passing him the hook. The door swings open. I pull the knife out and just like go for whatever's next to me, and it's and it's Lieutenant, and he's like, Jesus fucking Christ, Penny, you could have fucking killed me. And I'm like, well, that's kind of the point. Like, you can't just rip the freaking door open. Because Willie used to sit there, and he would put thoughts like into your head. I think he did it. I think he did it to like keep me awake. But he would be like, oh yeah, anybody, you know, those collapsible stock AKs, they just open the back door and just blast in here. And I'm like, oh my God, dude, like, don't tell me that. And he's like, yeah, just keep your eyes peeled. We'll be fine. I'm like, dude, you're wetting yourself at that point. Anyhow, yeah, dude, good times. Ramadi was a crazy place, though.
Yeah, it was.
It was an interesting city to operate in. I'll put it that way.
I thought our platoon did really freaking awesome, though. We only took one KIA. Poor Swanberg took one to the grape, and the mortar came in, which is just extremely unlucky. But other than that, we got out of there without anybody else having to get sent home for red, at least in the first deployment.
He was such a good guy, too. He was like, I don't know. He was a cool dude to be around, to be honest with you. He was one of those guys where I wanted to hang out with him, but I was a boot. Like, like Warren was like that. Because Warren was my PC. He was a cool guy. You wanted to hang out with him, but you were a boot. And you were just like, nope, I don't fucking rate. Anyhow, that was the hardest part about the first deployment, of course, was just being a boot. Being a boot in general, it's hard. But it's like, I don't know, dude. The first goat rope was weird. It was one of those things. Oh, okay, check this out. I caught a whiff of a smell the other day. Okay? I was downtown, don't know where I was. I was out on the road or something. But I caught this whiff, and it immediately brought me back to the government center in between the north and south gate, right, where you could access Gov Center Road off Michigan, right there. Remember how there would be like 1.5 foot of just fucking sewage that would be there? Do you remember this?
Dude, it was all over that city, though.
It was all over the place, but it was literally right there, and you had to stage in it. You were like, oh, man. That was the worst part about it. Was just the fucking horrid smells of that goddamn.
What do you think of this burn pit shit going on? I wonder if we're fucked, because we had a burn pit in our backyard.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Do you guys remember when, I think Penman, who fell into that thing? Penman and Coondog?
Yeah. Yep.
Holy
Those
shit.
two, how many different things could they have happened to them?
That was hilarious how they went out. No, they didn't fall into it, guys. What was it? They were trying to shove a bunch of trash down in there, and they poured there was a mixture between.
Oh,
they
dude!
poured diesel
All right, no,
fuel on
here,
it,
let
and
me
they
tell the
clogged
story.
hole. Yeah.
No, they used MoGas. They used MoGas instead of JP8.
Oh.
But what?
And they poured a whole fucking thing in, I think.
Didn't they have
We're
an
gonna have to
engineer
get them
stake,
on here
though?
to get this story, but in my recollection, they had poured a whole thing of MoGas on there, and then it wouldn't light on fire right, and then they poked it with a stick.
Yep.
And then
That's what
the
it was.
entire thing, because it had burned out from the inside, and it was just this ball of gas. I think Mattfeld's trying. Oh, yep, Mattfeld's trying to get on.
Yeah.
Hold on just a second.
Yeah, this is good. This is a good break in the action here. So, anytime that we use any of these Marines' names, we need to make sure that we're using them in a positive light, if you catch my drift.
Positive light, roger that.
Oh, sorry. Hey, I didn't even realize you're on. Right on.
All right, Mattfeld, welcome to the program. We are actually recording presently.
All right, cool. So now we've got both Mattfeld and Walters on the line. Mattfeld, where are you at right now? If you don't...
Currently, I am in Menominee Falls, Wisconsin.
That is awesome. And Walters,
Yep.
where are you about?
Salt Lake City, Utah.
Very cool. And we are here in the Cigars and Sea Stories studios just outside of Wake Forest, North Carolina. So this is pretty cool. Little 3-7 Weapons reunion.
Raw.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh shit.
We were just going over how Penman and McCune got blown up by
shit.
everyone's shit when they poured Mogas into a big hole filled with shit that had a tiny hole on top. And then they poked it.
Stop
with a
using
stick,
technical
and
terms.
it literally just blew up. We thought it was an IED. QRF goes out, runs out. These two motherfuckers are just covered in shit and third-degree burns on their hands and stuff.
Oh, dear God.
If I recall correctly, the CO is just like, I would do paperwork, but you guys just look so sad right now. Get the fuck out of my sight.
Oh,
Well,
man.
wasn't that was that Powledge? Was that our first tour?
I think so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, he was.
That guy was awesome. He cracked me up. Well, I had seen him in Quantico at the gym one time. It was just weird because he was super skinny. And
Really?
That is weird. I can't really imagine that.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, that was the same tour I saw Sergeant Major Kilgore toss an Army PFC out of an up-armored Army Humvee, and he tossed the guy like 20 feet in the air. And Lieutenant Colonel Turner, he was just as big, if not bigger, than Sergeant Major Kilgore.
Yeah. Yep.
Why did this happen? Let's
Let's back up
preface
here.
this so it's
Wait,
not just
why was he tossed from said Humvee?
why was this
Well,
toss?
well, Penny would remember. Sorry, Juslin, or Walters. Well, Walters actually might even remember, but you remember that the glass factory, Penny?
Oh God, yeah. Yep.
And remember, I was driving the high back there, and we were gonna go out and do snatches for
Yep.
a little while, and we were at the clearing barrels, and we heard that big boom, and so instead of, I think it was, if I remember right, it was Cat White that was on QRF, and but since we were already at the barrels, we got sent out as QRF instead. And we got sent down that direction, and I was the first high back to evac casualties. And then a whole bunch of Army Humvees showed up, and they were blocking my path to Ramadi Med. As I was trying to get out of there, this Army guy, he kept backing up and driving forward and backing up and driving forward. And finally, Sergeant Major Kilgore just got sick of it, and he ran over, and he tossed this Army PFC out of his Humvee, climbed in the driver's seat, got out of my way so I could make my way to Ramadi Med.
Wow.
It was a sight to behold, man. He just grabbed this kid by his flack and just tossed this 18-year-old kid like 20 feet out of the way. The kid was in full Army battle rattle, the shoulder pads and the everything. You know how we went slick the first year, and
Right.
this kid was just full of it. And he just picked this kid up and tossed it.
That's awesome.
Dang.
They had those fucking Kevlar shorts too.
Yeah, right.
Remember that
The
stuff?
tactical diaper?
That's-
That's what I remember.
Yeah.
Oh man. They had like molly loops on it and shit. You were just like, oh fuck. Looked like a bad guy on Iron Man. It was, yeah. I remember. Do you remember? Okay, like we were on QRF. We wound up going out. It was nighttime QRF, and I can't remember who got blown up. I remember it was the Jundies on Michigan, near Central. We're hauling ass out there. I was driving the high back that time. But the craziest thing in the world was going under the lights, and remember how your eyes would switch over from your night vision to your to your regular vision.
Yep.
And I went out from underneath of this street lamp, and bam! I was face to face with an M1 Abrams tank, and I'm just like, wow! Like, oh fuck! Like,
Well, wasn't that you and me when you were VCing, weren't you?
That was no, that was Harmon and I.
Okay.
Yeah, because he wound up. We didn't have any pull-less litter, so we had to start using like no joke like rugs. You know, it was
Right.
like,
Yeah.
all right, gonna go. You know, yeah, man, that was crazy. Remember, my front left tire got shot out,
Mm-hmm.
and I was trying to get back. That literally the run flat was gone by the time we got over to like the clearing barrels. I hop out, and I had to check it. You know, even though you're not supposed to stop, just keep going to Charlie Med. But like, I hopped out and checked it, and literally I was on the rim, and I had busted like 2 or 3 of those nuts. And I'm like, I don't care, let's do this, and just slapped it and drive and went. You know, it was good enough to where you could make it down like those. Remember the ruts? If you took the right path, you could take the dirt path down to Charlie Med, and it was nothing but ruts. That's exactly what I did.
Right. Yeah.
Yep. Camper Monty, man.
Jesus.
Hurricane Point.
Blue Diamond.
Blue Diamond, where the good
Blue
chow
Diamond
is.
was where we went for chow.
Oh,
And we got to pull all the pizzas and the crab legs that we wanted.
Steak. Yeah.
oh my God.
Asian food made with spaghetti, like what is it? Spaghetti chow mein.
Yeah, something like that.
I mean, it tasted good, but it was just like it was never what you were hoping it was gonna be.
Right. Oh, dear God. Yeah, I can talk shit on the Army all goddamn day, but I tell you what, those guys know how to pack some chow in.
Oh, amen.
Hell yes.
Well, I was thinking about the time that remember when you were the VC and I was the driver, and we got sent out in the middle of Michigan to be bullet magnets.
Yes. Oh my God, yes, I do. I tried to. Yeah.
And we got that RPG shot at us.
Ugh.
It soared like 20 feet above our heads.
Dude, and they move so slow. Remember that?
Right?
You're like, the fuck is that?
You're tracking this thing coming in, and you're like, oh shit. No, we're fine.
Yeah. That shit'll buff out.
Yeah. You know what didn't buff out was when Giblin's truck hit the hit that IED over in that neighborhood. You guys remember when the entire front end of his truck went missing?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Torres was the gunner. That was funny because they all got their bell rung, stumbled out of the truck, and Torres, in his altered state of mind, you could call it, pulls out his M9 and puts 3 rounds into the freaking gate lock and kicks it open like he's in a movie or some shit.
Hell yes.
I remember talking about that in the debrief, and Lieutenant was like, Torres, what was all that about? What made you think to do that? He's like, honestly, sir, I have no idea. It just seemed like a good idea at the time, so I did it.
I needed to shoot something.
Yeah.
Man.
You guys remember when we went out to rescue freaking Cat Black after they got all shot up, the ambush that they rolled into that made him combat ineffective the rest of the deployment?
Yeah.
So when that call came in, you remember Gibbon was lead truck driver for my section. You remember how he was in the roost? His rack was like touching the ceiling, and he would always sink into it and have his big headphones on and never would hear anything.
Yep.
You guys remember how we missed that call?
Yes. Yes,
We
I
rolled out without him on the biggest call of the deployment, or one of the biggest calls of the deployment, and he was jamming out the tunes, had no idea. Looked up and everybody was gone. Oh man.
That was like the worst feeling in the world if you were on QRF. I mean, you're ready, you have your boots on, you have like your either camis halfway off or flight suit for the second deployment halfway off. Like but somehow like you wake up and you look around and there's nobody there. You're like, oh fuck. And then you run outside, and I thankfully never got caught. I always caught up to my truck at either the clearing barrels or like while they're still staged in that beautiful pattern right in the middle of Hurricane Point.
Oh God.
Yeah.
It's like,
Dude.
hey, aim here.
Yeah. The first tour QRF was like lightning quick, and we needed to be.
Oh, it was
Right.
awesome. That was a good
Well,
feeling.
I'll never forget, dude, the first QRF we ever got called out on, and I jumped into the high back. Harmon was my VC, and we made it at the clearing barrels. And I mean, within the time that we needed to be there, and we were ready to punch out. And I'm like, I look in the high back. I look next to the high back. My rifle is gone.
Oh.
Where the fuck is my rifle?
That's not a good feeling.
No.
And then I remembered just before we started the Humvees, I had left it like leaned against the high back. And so I had to run all the way back to Cat Red's hooch. And there it was, laying in the sand.
Oh, dear God.
Dude, you guys,
And
we could
luckily I
have
didn't
lost
get caught, but man, I was just like,
rifle
I'm going to
somewhere
get in so much trouble for this.
Oh, God.
in Groves in Section 1. He was lead truck VC, and we dismounted, cleared a house, and then went back to mount up, and he left his rifle on top of the Humvee. We literally drove for like 2 or 3 blocks before he realized what happened.
Oh,
Got out, and his rifle was luckily still on top of the Humvee.
Oh, thank God.
Lucky son of a bitch.
Inside, drove off.
Oh, good God.
But remember,
Or-
those seniors couldn't do any wrong.
Yeah.
Shit.
I actually really liked Groves though.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
I liked him. Warren was a good guy.
Burge.
Yep. I saw Burge when I was in Quantico.
Oh, really?
That was really cool. Because I was a CMT and we were both sergeants. Burge was going through HRP at the time. And so he was like looking at me, I can tell this Marine in the middle of the parking lot's like peering around. So I wind up putting my lieutenants just kind of on like autopilot, and I walk out into the middle. And I'm like, Burge, what's going on? And, shake his hand and stuff like that. It was cool to catch up. We only got like 5 minutes together, but it was really neat. Seeing your senior Marine, but now you're both sergeants. It was just cool. It was a different experience,
Sure. That's pretty neat.
Yep, it was cool. So Williams is a staff sergeant. That was cool.
Which
Willie,
Williams?
do you remember Willie? He was our senior Marine and my gunner in lead truck.
Oh, really? He stayed
but
in.
he's only a staff sergeant. He's not a gunny yet.
Well, I was in Quantico at the time, so this is like 09.
Oh, okay.
You're
Yeah.
talking about
Probably.
Joho Williams, right?
Joe
Swanberg's best friend.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wasn't that
Yep.
Franklin?
that was Franklin.
Yeah. It was
that-
Franklin.
you're
That's
right,
what I was
you're
gonna say.
right.
But
Yep,
yeah, our senior Williams, not
correct.
black or white Williams.
Token, man. I talked to Token the other day, like 2 days ago.
How's he
Oh,
doing?
shit.
Dude, he's doing good, man. He's finishing up school. He's gonna get into the FBI here pretty soon once he's done with school.
Nice.
Good for him.
Yeah, that is the right career path for him. You
Well,
know
I
what I'm
remember
saying?
That's what Burge was trying to do for a while there.
There were a couple of guys where it was like, yeah, I could definitely see this dude as like special agent man.
Well, hey guys, like I mentioned earlier on the call, I'm at about my drop dead time.
All right.
But if you want to call back in later, or I'll give you my availability for tomorrow as well, I can do that.
All right, brother.
It's been a pleasure catching up with everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's been great
definitely.
talking to you, man. Thanks for coming on the show with us and sharing some of your thoughts.
Hey,
Looking forward to-
Walters.
Yeah.
I'm living in Colorado.
Oh, good. You're not too
And,
far away from me.
No, not too far away at all. And we're planning on making a trip out to Utah sometime soon.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, let me know when you're coming up, and we'll do something fun. I always throw the invitation out there. Nobody ever makes it up to Utah though, and they're missing out
It's-
on a good time.
Hey, it's gonna happen soon. I swear to God. You
Oh,
are
yeah.
on the radar, Chris. I promise
Okay.
you this.
Okay.
You are on the
Got you
map, my
saying it,
man.
Giblin saying it, Token saying it, and now Mattfield. So,
There you go.
Dude, I'm only a state away, so I'll be there, man.
all right, cool.
All right, later, bud.
Okay, we'll see you guys.
Yep.
Later, brother.
Thank you for listening to Cigars and Sea Stories. Chris, Josh, really appreciate you calling in. Thank you so much for being guests on the show. If you are a Marine or an FMF corpsman, past or present, who would like to be on the show, go ahead, shoot us an email. We're at cigarsandseastories.com. Get in touch with us. We want to have you on the show. Speaking softly. Hit the little red button.